Person consecrates his Eved, 38b. He goes for a my time, a goofy lo kodesh. What's the reason? You can't consecrate a person's body. Lidmei lo komar. And he didn't say it's his value. The lehevi am kodesh. He didn't say the lehevi am kodesh. The lehevi am kodesh komar. He said he should be consecrated. So what does it mean? The lehevi am yisro gomed d'chsibuk am kodesh ato. Yep. When he said my slave should be kodesh, what are we called? We're called am kodesh. We're going kodesh. See, he didn't mean to consecrate him, because a human being can't be consecrated. An animal you could consecrate. So when he said he should be kodesh, hamagdish avdo, he means he should be freed. That's what he said. Rav Yosef Marav, hamavkav di yotz lecherus. What if you disown him? You don't use the word magdish. Also, madiyom and magdish. If you say magdish, koshke mafkir. If you say he should be kodesh, if that's sufficient to be considered emancipated, so free for sure. Madiyom mafkir, magdish lo. Why? Dilma may komer. If you say he should be hefker, that means clearly you're disowning him. But if you say he should be hegdish, maybe he didn't mean he should be a Jew, but rather he means his value should be hegdish. If we hold mafka abdul yotz lecherus, does he need to get shikhr? Does he need to get, or just disowning him, that's sufficient? Toshman, domer Rav Chiba Rav nomer Rav echod zev echod yotz lecherus. Either way, yotz lecherus, the tzorach get shikhr. He ruled he needs to get shikhr. Disowning him enough doesn't, the transition to be a Jew doesn't happen. He needs that rid of emancipation. Omer Rav Rabba umasvindin ashmaitzin. But they asked on it from a statement. It says a person goes consecrates all his assets. And there were slaves in part of the estate. And the overseers of Hegdish are not permitted to free them. But when they take the slaves, it becomes the asset of Hegdish, and they sell it to others. And the owners, the ones who actually purchased the slaves, they free them. Rebbe Rebbe says, Omer Ani af who knows him atzmo v'yotze, that the slave himself could, since he was disowned, so to say, so he takes his own value. V'yotze meshu k'mocher lo. He's saying to the slave, what do you have, some to a third? He has like first rights. He has first rights. Mastiska Ramaslei the Rav. It seems to be the Mishnah is difficult on Rav. Rav says, Hamavka avdo yotz lecherus. Hamagdish avdo yotz lecherus. Seems the Mishnah is difficult. Rav tomorrow says, Rav Tano Polig. Rav is a Tana. He has the standing of a Tana. He could argue with the Mishnah. Toshma, Ach Kol Cherim. Okay? Ach Kol Cherim. This a person says regarding Hegdish. Cherim, Mi'odom, Elo Avodov, Ushiv Chosav HaKnanim. So it says, if you Magdish, where is it? It means it's Hegdish. Cherim is Hegdish. Person says it should be Cherim. Cherim means it should be Hegdish. And we're quoting a Brisa. Kol Cherem, whether it's Odom or Behemoth. So what's Odom? Why? But if actually he said it should be Hegdish, he's freed, right? It's not Hegdish. No, he didn't say it should be just Hegdish. He didn't say my slave should be Hegdish. When the slave say it should be Hegdish, he's freed. That means he should be Am Kodosh. Right. But he said his value should be Hegdish. That's what the person said. When the person says his value, then it's the value is Hegdish. Yochi idoch nami, the Omer lidmei. Yochi idoch nami, the Omer lidmei. Yochi in goes bar Hashem lotzi and lecheres gizbar ma'aviditayu. But if in fact he only said its value should be Hegdish, what does it mean? The overseer Hegdish can't emancipate him. He never was Magdish to slave. We're saying now, when it says that what his slaves Chera means free. It does not mean free. It means lidmei. So if so, it said in the Mishnah before that if he goes and he consecrates the whole estate, the Gizborim, that means the overseers Hegdish, they can't free him. They have to sell to a third party. What do you mean sell? The man was never Magdish to slaves. We're speaking about, he said lidmei, their value was Hegdish. So the value is Hegdish. Who owns the slave? The original owner owns the slave. Right? So that's the first question. What do you mean the Gizbar cannot free him? Gizbar ma'aviditayu, what roles does the Gizbar have? But you could sell to a third party. How do you sell to a third party? He was never magdish the slave. He originally said that the value of the slave. So the original owner retains the slave. He pays for himself and he goes l'cherus. But if we're speaking l'dmei, Toshma. Hamagdish Eved, Avdo. Person goes consecrates a slave, Osev Ochel. Osev Ochel. What does he do? He goes and his earnings he keeps himself. Shelo Higdish El Damov. Why what he earns, why is he permitted to keep? Because he was only Magdish his value. Right? He was only Magdish value. Loma Elahri Higdish Lidomov. Very Kakarko Behemo, which means his value should be Hegdish. He wasn't Magdish as an object.
So the person can't be, but his output can be.
We're saying his output is not Hegdish, but he is Hegdish.
Right.
Why does that change his status? Why is it always increased? The slave doesn't count. The slave isn't out. His value is consecrated. The slave is worth $100 and donating $100.
Meaning, he explains. Let's say I consecrate a piece of property, and now Hegdish has an expenditure. Could they use that money to cultivate that property? They could. So feeding the slave, right? His value now belongs to Hegdish. So his value. So I could take Hegdish and feed it to the slave because the slave is no different than a piece of property, or like an animal, right? He has to be maintained. Of course, it's the equivalent of like the acid of Hegdish. So Rashi explains. Lo Omar Hariu Hegdish L'Domov Vavi Kekarka Ubehemet Tmeya. Ha Moni Remehi the Omar Inod Motzi Dvar V'Davatolo. Yeah. A person goes and consecrates himself. Osav Ochel. So Higdish L'Domov.
So you're saying his value, he can make Hegdish. Is that right?
His value is making Hegdish,
right.
And therefore, to maintain his value, he could even eat things that were consecrated, because his value is Hegdish. Iyam Rabbi Shlomo Reb Meir, he Shapir Eliyam Rabbonani, Bishlam Avdo Lidmeikoi, Eliyu Lidmeikoi. A slave, what's a slave's value? Productivity. It's financial productivity. We're a human being, a regular free man. Tanakama says if a person consecrates a slave, if somebody benefits from the Eved, it's not like benefiting from an animal that's Hegdish. If you benefit from his hair, let's say you share his hair and you benefit, it's like benefiting from an animal. The one who says Yemoel, actually the slave is consecrated. What do we have to speak about? Whether you Moel, being benefiting or not? Say Poshet. Be more specific. Is this slave Hegdish or is it not Hegdish? What do we have to speak about the consequence of being Hegdish? Talk about whether he's Hegdish. El Tkuli Amal Kodesh. Everybody agrees he's Kodesh. When you say Magdish is slave, the slave becomes an entity of Kedusha. One holds that a slave is what? Is like a piece of fixed property. And therefore, what's that loch if you mold? Let's say I consecrate a piece of property and you sit on the property, which is equivalent to trespassing. You're not moel. I mean, you're not allowed to do it, but you don't bring a korban mila. Because the Gzer Sakosov, you only bring korban, has to be metaltalin, has to be movable. Property is not immovable. Right. So since a slave, even though physically he's immovable, but in terms of his value, his stature is like a piece of property. Therefore, you're not moel. Since physically he's movable, even though his status may be karka, if you benefit from him, you're moel. If that's the case, what do we have to talk about? He benefits from the hair. He cut the slave's hair and benefited from the hair. If I use the slave himself, everybody agrees the slave is the equivalent of karka. So if you benefit directly from the slave, you're not moel. Yeah, there's hair is meant to be shorn. So when you consecrate slave and he has hair, do you look at the hair as being part of the body? Or do we say, since it's meant to be cut, it's already considered shorn? We look at it as if it's shorn. Masav kegozus dam, masav lo kegozus dami. I'll give you an example. There's machlokes. We had this in Nozir, that it says that if a Nozir becomes Tomei, it cancels his what's his name? His Nazir, his counting, right? What does he have to do? He has to start over. So he has to cut off his hair, goes to the mikveh, or aduma, it starts counting over, right? What happens if he didn't cut his hair? The hair is considered chatzitza. But since there's an obligation to cut the hair, we see the hair as if it's already detached. Although physically it's attached to his head, we see it as if it's detached. Because since it's meant to be cut, therefore we see it as if it's already cut. Okay? So over here, so there's a famous Chassam Sofi says, if that's the case, let's say a woman normally cuts her hair before she goes to the mikveh, and she doesn't. Is it considered chatzitza?
Yes.
So he says it's not a chatzitza.
Really?
Why? He says because the Gemara in Nozir, the Torah says that's a Torah obligation. You must cut the hair. Here it's a minute people cut their hair, they don't cut their hair before they go to the mikveh. So therefore you don't look at the hair as being detached from the body. Here the Torah says it must be cut. It's a Torah law. Torah dictates that. So you're not supposed to have hair. So if you're not supposed to have hair, the hair itself, we see it as if it's cut, because it's meant to be cut. But a woman going to the mikveh, she doesn't have to cut her hair. She chooses to cut her hair, whatever the custom may be. But there's no halacha, you must cut your hair. Therefore, it's not considered chatzitza, it's considered part of the body.
Didn't we equate it with the nails, that the nails would be considered a chatzitza if she didn't? If she said she was and she didn't?
Nails are different than hair, because nails, a person nails a person naturally cuts. Here a person doesn't naturally cut.
That's a difference.
Yeah. Okay. It seems to be this machlokes term similar to the Tnan Ramiro Yesh Dvorim Shein Kakarka Ve'Ne Kakarka. There's certain things which have a semblance of fixed property, but they're not. Yeah. Now, what's the halacha? We have a principle: Ein Nishbon Al Karkos. Motive mixas. If you have a partial admission, you have to swear. I say I lent you $100. You say I borrowed 50. You have to swear that you only owe 50. You don't owe the balance. What about if I gave you 5 trees as a shomer, laden with fruit, and when I come back to get them back, you give me 5 laden, fine, were picked, and you say you never gave me more than 5, and I say I gave you 10, so that your motive mixas. So if I see the fruit on the tree as if it's fixed property, you don't have to swear, because we have a principle: you don't swear on fixed property. But if you say that since the fruit is meant to be picked, so we see it as metalton, as movables, then you have to swear. That's about close to Rameir and the Chachomi. Rameir says anything that's meant to be picked, we see it as if it's picked, so therefore it's motive mixas. So my claim to you is you owe me 3 tons of fruit, and you say I only owe you 1 ton of fruit. That's motive mixas. But according to the Chachom, they say no. If it's attached to the tree, that's the tree. So then we'll see. It's not. There's certain things which are attached to the property, but we don't deal with it like property. Person says, I gave you 10 trees laden with fruit. The other one says he only gave me 5. So it's what? It's a partial admission. But Rameir says you have to swear. Since the fruits are attached, that's fixed property. You don't swear on fixed property. And what kind of fruit do we speak about? We're speaking about the grapes were at a period where they were ready to be picked. It's not they just started to bud on the tree. If they just started to bud on the tree, it's not holding by being picked. Everybody would agree that's fixed property. But since the trees that he gave him, the vineyards, were already at the time was picking season,
And they didn't pick it?
and it just wasn't picked. So that's the question. At this point, do you look at it as if it's detached or not detached? Yeah. Rameir says you look at it as if the grapes are already picked. So therefore it's motive in mixas. In our situation, regarding Milo, you could say it's even more like Rameir. Adkan lokum remei hosem el bandovim the kamo the kaimo the kama the kaimo mikikishi. Hear this. Grapes on the tree when they're ready to be picked, a grape as it grows, right, it becomes fuller. If it's ready to be picked, it has no nourishment from the vine. Just the opposite. It starts shriveling. It starts drying. So for all intents and purposes, it's detaching itself in its reality. Here, as long as it is, the hair is still connected to your head, right? Here, when it stops growing, it stops getting nourishment, it's just physically attached, but it has no relevance to the vine other than that. So therefore, that's the reason Meir says by the vine, the grapes we've seen as if they're detached. But here, regardless of how long the hair may be, actually the hair is fully attached to your body. As long as it's attached, it keeps growing. The Rav Kami, the Rabbi Yochanan, when Rav Chi bar Abba had gone to before Rabbi Yochanan, he said over Rav, it said, Omer Rav Hochi, Vula Omer Hochi. V'Omer Ula Omer B'yoch Mafke Abdu Yotz L'Cherit Circuit Shichrur Hochi Kamer Omer Rav Kavosi. Yeah. Vigadami Losima Kamei Omer V'Lo Omer Rav Hochi V'Lo Circuit Shichrur Rabbi Yochanan Tami Omer Ula Omer B'yoch Mafke Abdu Yotz L'Cherit Circuit Shichrur. All that they hold, when you disown your slave, although monetarily the master no longer has any control over him, but factually that master has to give him the writ of emancipation. He has to be freed. Right? He needs to get shichur. This is Ula saying over what Rabbi Yochanan said. Ula is a Talmud, a student of Rabbi Yochanan. Ger shemes. Yeah, Ger has no heirs. Hear what's going on here. Right. So what happens when he dies? All his estate? Ger. A ger. He's a convert. Convert, regular convert. So he has no heirs. Everything becomes ownerless, right? So if he has slaves, what happens? The slaves are ownerless. So when they come on, do they become Jews? What happens to them? He doesn't have to disown it. Actually, they become ownerless because there's no heirs. We'll see. And other Jews came, they took possession. Right? And there were slaves in the estate. Ben Gadol and Ben Katan, whether they were adults or minors. Kanu Atzmon B'nei Chorin. They themselves acquire themselves and they're free. You hear this? That's Tanakh. What is it? Abba Shaul says the Gadolim Kanu Atzmon. The adults, who they can because they're adults. B'nei Chorin Katanim Kol Machzubim Zochabim. But the minors, because they don't have sufficient halachic intelligence, they can't acquire themselves. So if somebody else takes possession of them, it's like taking possession of an object. But in fact, they both agree if they're adults. They can. It says the Jews. Right. So what do we see that? How are they free men? Who gave them the get shichur? The master dies, and it says here that when they can take possession themselves and they're Jews. But if you tell me you need a writ of emancipation, who gave the get shichur? Right. So what do we see from here? Mafker Avdo ain't sort of get shichur. That once there's no longer monetarily ownership, you become automatically a Jew without receiving the writ of emancipation. Omar. So when he asked this question to Ula, because Ula said name Rabbi Yochanan Tzarket Shichur. So they asked on Ula, but how could that be? From here we see that you don't need to get Shichur. So Ula answers, he says, Omar, Domi Haim Drabon Kilogamri Ichi Shmaitza. Hear this? He says, from the question I see, it seems to be you never learned in your life. You don't even know how to understand something. That's how baseless the question is. How could you say Rabbi Yochanan says you need to get shichur from this mission? It's indicated that you don't. He says, you know something? If you ask that kind of question, it seems to be you never opened the Gemara in your life. That's what he's saying. It sounds familiar. The time of my Avdo the ger ki ishto. That the slave of a convert is like his wife. Just as a man dies, his wife's widowed, she needs no get to remarry, correct? So the same thing when he dies, since there is no master, so therefore, because again, what do we learn out the halacha get shichur? Get of an Evet Kanani and a woman,
like
same. So therefore he associates one with the other. Just as that, if he dies,
She's free.
She's cut loose. Here also he's cut loose. So what about even the Jew? What do we say by a Jew? So where did Rabbi Yochanan say you get shichur? That's if a Jew dies. That means there is an heir.
Right.
There is an heir. Because it says no. Because it says when a person dies, it should be given over to a son as what is part of the estate. That's different. Right? But so if that's the case, what about a person is mafker, his slave, and he dies subsequently? Also, it says a person who disowns his slave and dies, ain't lo takona, you this. There's no way, the man is in limbo. Because who's going to give him the get? Right? Damemer kasha. According to what we're saying now, that we're equating him to what? Yeah. Right? Yeah.
The scenario one more time is what? The man dies?
No, he first was mafkir, his slave. So therefore there's nothing to inherit to his children.
Right.
And then he dies. So it says, Amemer says, Eilo takona. You can't rectify this man's situation. Who's going to give him the get? The heirs have no relevance to it. If the heirs would actually inherit it, they'll do it. But over here he disowned it, so there's nothing to pass down to the children.
There's no force,
right? So it says, Damemer kasha, because we said earlier, right? You do give a get shichur. Omer Reb Yaakov Ridi Omer Reb Shua ben Levi haloch k'Abishol. We rule like Abishol. That Abishol differentiated between Ketanim and Gedolim, right? He says the adults, they take possession of themselves. Amalei Reb Zera Reb Yaakov Ridi Beferish Shamilo. That did you say we rule like Abishol that the adults could take possession of themselves, the minors, other people could take possession of them? Did you hear that explicitly, that we rule this way? Or you deduced it from somebody. Somebody had said something, it was inferred from what they had said. My klolo. What does it mean? What would be the klal that you heard over from someone? Omer Lefnei Rebbe. Yeah, Reb Shua said, Omer Lefnei Rebbe. Oma nisiyashti miploni avdi mau. You hear this? Person says, I despair from my slave. Person had a slave, let's say the slave fled. And he says, like you despair from the item, I despair from the slave. Yeah. So they asked Rebbe, what would be? He said, Nisiyashti mi avdi. So Rashi himself says, the word Nisiyashti means hefkeru. The word Nisiyashti doesn't mean despair, meaning you just let it go. Let it go. Omer lefnei Rebbe, Omer Nisiyashti mi avmau, Omer lehem, Omer ani ein lo takona. He says, he's in a situation, it cannot be rectified. Why? Elo b'shtar. The only way he could become a free man, he has to receive the get. V'omer Rabbi Yochanan, my time at the Rebbe, gomelo lo miisha. Very simple, because he learns the evidence no different than a woman. Ma isha b'shtar, just as a woman. Let's say a man would say to his wife, I free you to do what you want. It means not. He's still married to her. The only way you could actually cut her loose. He says, well, you're not financially, you're not bound to me. She still needs to get. She's still his wife. Same thing here. Although financially you released it, you relinquished all financial rights, but nevertheless, you're the master. Just as a woman, what is the hold? What's the connection to husband and wife? It's Isser. It's not a finance. The money is only a consequence of the Isser, of the relationship. The person doesn't own his wife. So what do you have, financial rights? No, that's a consequence of the relationship that you're attached to me. He says, did you hear it explicitly or did you deduce it? So Mar says, what difference does it make? But if it's a valid source, it doesn't make a difference, right? Because you could deduce the just as a wife, whether she's a minor or an adult. When the wife is a get, what's the halacha? Right? We don't differ. She says, I heard explicitly that we rule like Abishol. It wasn't deduced. I heard it explicitly. Reb Chi bar Abba Omer Reb Yochanan in Halach Kabishol, he argues. What's his name said? Rav Yaakov Beridi says in the name of Shur ben Levi, we rule like Abishol. He says no, we don't. Reb Chi bar Abba Omer says in the name of Reb Yochanan, ein halacha Kabishol. We don't. So there's an argument. What did one is named Reb Shur ben Levi? Reb Shur ben Levi says we do rule like Abishol, and Reb Yochanan is being quoted that we don't do like. My time, 1 second. Did you hear Reb Yochanan say that explicitly, that we don't rule like Abishol? Reb Yochanan said something, you deduced it from what Reb Yochanan said. What would have been a general statement that you would have deduced it? Amr Reb Shur ben Levi, Amr Lefnei Rebbe, Amr Lefnei Rebbe, Nisiyashtim Yiploni Avdi. Person says, I'm mafkir the Evid. Mau, Omer ani ein lo takona. El b'shtar. The only way you can be freed is with a document, with the star. Remember Rabbi Yochanan, my time in the Rebbe. And Rabbi Yochanan says, what's the basis, the halacha based Rebbe, that you need a get shechur, rid him, Goma lo b'isha. Because just this exer shava from a woman, my isha b'shtar. Just as a wife, if she wants to be divorced, you need a document. Af Evid nam yishtar. Kodaikis mino. And we're able to do my isha, ki isha, my isha begdol begtano. Just as a woman, whether she's an adult or a minor, if she's married to him, she needs to get to remarry. Av evednam begdol begkoten. V'imechlola my ajra, but doik mino lach isha. My isha yisur lo mamona. Av evednam yisur lo mamona. Omalei befir shemile. Heard explicitly. Omamar, omalem, omar ani ein lo takon el bishtar. Rebbe says the only way, if you mafker an Eved, the only way he can be freed, he needs to start the Tanya. Rebbe Omer ani. Rebbe says he pays for himself. Somebody's magdish the slave, he pays for himself, and he goes free.
So it's like a loan. He pays
no. See clearly, he doesn't need it. What he says,
right, he doesn't need it. He's paying money.
He's paying money to Hegdish, not a loan. He's like purchasing himself. Meishu kemocher lo, hochema, o bekesev o b'shtar. Wait, either one. Kesev or shtar, he goes free. Vaipoka le kaspe. And why? The money gave him the right to extricate himself from that. Tana de Tanya, Tana de Tanya. And this comes to argue from what on this Tana? Reb Shimon Omer, Mishum Reb Akiva. Reb Shimon says him, Reb Akiva, Yochel Yeh Kesef Gomer Bo, Kederch Shtar Gomer. Maybe you're able to what? Instead of a document to free her.
Yeah.
Every writ of emancipation is a document. Maybe just as she was purchased through money, maybe she could be free through money, right? Yochel Yekesev Gomebo, to terminate her situation like a shtar. Tamalom v'hefta lo nivdosa. Ora kol aparsh kula lo chupsha. We're speaking about she was not freed. Lo malach shtar Gomebo v'en Kesev Gomebo.
So the Kesev and the shtar can't do it.
Can't do it. No, the other way. Kesev cannot do it.
And shtar
only shtar.
Right.
Shtar Gomebo v'en Kesev Gomebo. Omer Rabbi Yochanan halacha Reb Shimon. We rule like Reb Shimon. Rabbi Yochanan, Omer Rabbi Yochanan, ein halacha Reb Shimon. Second. Riga. 1 second. Yeah. One second. Omer Rav Nachman halacha Reb Shimon. We rule like Rabbi Yochanan, that would like Reb Shimon, that what? That the only way she can be freed is only with a shtar. Rabbi Yosef Omer Rabbi Yochanan ain't halacha Reb Shimon. We don't. So she can be freed what? Without a shtar. Good.
Does this mean when someone pays money for it, he's just acquiring her as his slave?
No.
And he can't marry her?
No. No. If the question is, if let's say you would pay for her value, does she go free?
So you're not paying the other person for the ownership of the slave, just giving the English to the family?
No. You're giving it to the master.
Okay. Hasn't he purchased the slave?
Yeah, but let's say now that somebody wants to free the slave, and he gives the master money to free the slave. No document. Oh, you're freed.
So you buy,
pays for the slave. Slave becomes his property.
Now you want to terminate the relationship, that he should be free. Let's say the slave was somebody who put up money for the slave to be freed. Is he freed when he receives the money? So we say he's not freed. Even though initially you gave money to make him into a slave, but to extricate himself, to change his status, you need a get. You need a get shichur. You need a writ of emancipation.
But he's purchased her. Can he just write that? He couldn't.
We're talking about if you didn't write it. Right? The Gemara has a discussion in Kedushin. If a woman would give money to her husband to be freed, is she divorced? No. You need a get. You need a document. So we're saying something similar here. If the slave would give money to the master, is he emancipated? The answer is no. See, the master may have disowned him, but in a state of status is still slave. He still needs a shtar. He needs a shtar to bring about the transition to become a Jew.
And the difference in a man and woman slave here?
Makes no difference. Same thing. No, because the pasuk speaking about it's speaking about a slave woman. The pasuk speaking about a slave woman, but there's no difference in the actual status. Yeah. Ashke Reb Nachman Yitzchok Aleph. Yeah. Ashkeche Reb Nachman Yitzchok L'Rabba Bar Shila Stavi Koi Koi Apischa Dvei Tfilo. You hear this? Nachman came upon Rabbi Bar Shila and be sitting. He was by the entrance of a shul. Dvei Tfilo. Omalei halacha o ein halacha. He said to him, "Do we rule like Reb Shimon? Don't we rule like Reb Shimon?" Omalei Omar ani ein halacha. Ein halacha. Yeah, we don't rule like Reb Shimon. Second. Rabbanan Dosim Chuz Amri Omer Reb Zeir Mishmei Renach Halocha. We do rule like Reb Shimon. So what's the question? Do you need to get shichur or don't you need to get shichur? Somebody's mafkir slave. Do you need to get shichur or not? So Rav Nachman asks Rabbi Bar Shila. He says we don't rule like Reb Shimon. That means you don't need to get shichur. You don't need to get shichur. Rabbanan say we do rule like him. Tell me exactly what happened. There was this woman slave. Her master was on his deathbed. And when she was on his deathbed, she came and cried because her predicament. How long is this woman going to be in a state of being enslaved? This is what she's crying to the master who's on his deathbed. He took his hat and he gave it to her. Omar lo zilkoni. Yeah, you acquired the hat. V'koni nafshei. Zilkoni, you acquired the hat. V'koni nafshei, and acquire yourself. Wait, so what does acquire yourself? That means he didn't give her a get?
No.
He's saying, you're free to go. So from that statement, what does it seem to be? This mafkar avdo, just disowning the person you don't need to get. Oskam Reb Nachman, so they came before Reb Nachman to tell of what happened. Amalu lo asu lo klum. Hear this? Nothing. It meant nothing because since factually she did not receive a get shichrur, she's still a slave. She's still a slave. Just disowning the monetary aspect of it doesn't free the woman. Man mishum dalok Reb Shimon, the one who understood it. Why did Reb Nachman say she's not free? Because she didn't get a get. Because we were like Reb Shimon. Get this. Because it was like a kinyah chalipin. It was his hat.
So he's transferring.
He gave. When you take that, acquire yourself.
Right.
No, we hold you have to have the when you do a kinyah chalipin, you need the object belonging to the one who wants to acquire.
Right.
So it was backwards. Let's say I want your jacket. So bartering. So the acquirer gives something. When you take mine, I receive what I want. Here, the master is giving his hat to the slave woman. When you take this, acquire yourself. Right. It's going in the wrong direction. If she would give something belonging to her, to him, so when he receives that, he transfers her rights to herself. So this has nothing to do with a mafka avdo.
But whatever she has is his.
That's why it's not possible. But let's say a third party would give it on her behalf. Third party would give it to the master on her behalf. So then we can talk. When he receives it, he transfers the rights to her. So what happened there has nothing with mafka avdo.
Right.
Maybe mafka avdo is sufficient.
It looks like it. But
No,
it's not.
but here it's a whole different story.
Right.
Omer Rav Shmuel bar Achitoi, Omer Rav Amnuna Sabo. Rav Shmuel bar Achitoi said name Rav Amnuna Sabo, Omer Rav Yitzchok bar Ashion, Omer Rav Huna, Omer Rav Amnuna Halocha Kereb Shimon. That what? Man, you need to get sheikh mafka avdos lo yotzal cheirus. Below he said no, ain't halocha Kereb Shimon.
It's not.
We don't. Omer Rav Zeir, Omer Rav Chanibar, Omer Rav Ashi, Omer Rebbe, Evet shenosab es baschorin b'fnei Rabo. You hear this? A slave marries a full Jewess in the presence of his Rebbe. And the Rebbe says no word, doesn't say a word.
So
He should protest it immediately. It's an Evet marrying a Jewish woman.
So if he doesn't protest, it's like she's a Jew.
No, see, the answer is because he's saying, remain
free.
silent. Not she, he.
He's saying,
As if you're free.
right,
She never received the get.
but
If you hold that you don't mafka the yotzal cheirus, it's okay.
Right.
You don't need a get, right? Omer Avashi, Omer Reb Chani, Omer Avashi, Omer Rebbe. Evet shno says baschor b'fnei Rabo yotzal cheirus.
it's free. It's a l'chever. It's,
He goes free. So Rashi says the lav deshachri lav ishovik lei lemitzah baschoren, because if he didn't free him, he wouldn't allow it to take place. An evid's not permitted in the Jewish room. It's evident. Why did he allow it? The answer is because he freed him.
does that imply that he gave a get or he didn't give a get?
Without a get.
Without a get, he just in front. Okay.
Okay, I think we'll stop here.
Is this star also referred to as